Eli wiped his hands on his worn uniform as he pushed the mop across the shiny floor of the Royal Archives. The building was enormous, taller than anything he had ever seen on Earth, with walls that shimmered like liquid metal. He had never belonged here, not really. Humans were rare in this city, often seen as curiosities. Most aliens barely looked at him, and those who did usually assumed he was just a janitor, nothing more. Today the archives were quiet, the kind of quiet that made every footstep echo. Eli had been sweeping for hours, and boredom had settled over him like a heavy cloak. He wandered past rows of glowing panels and floating data screens, imagining what it would be like to be someone important, someone remembered in history. That was when he laughed to himself and said it out loud. "What if I told you I'm the Lost Prince?" He asked no one in particular, leaning lazily against a wall. A small group of alien workers turned toward him. Their skin shimmered in shades of blue and green, and their eyes were larger than his head. They stared in silence for a moment, clearly not sure if he was serious. Eli grinned. "Yeah, I know, sounds ridiculous, right? I'm just a human janitor sweeping floors. But what if it were true?" One of them, a tall alien with a silver crest running down its head, chuckled. "The Lost Prince? Humans are too weak for such stories. You must be joking." Eli shrugged, pretending to be modest. "Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. You'll never know." He tapped his wrist, pretending it was a crown. "I just hide my royal side with this uniform." The aliens laughed, but the sound carried a hint of disbelief. No human had ever claimed such a title, and no alien had ever thought it could be true. Eli wandered deeper into the archive halls, pretending to inspect the glowing data scrolls but really enjoying the reactions around him. Then one of the aliens, a small creature with 3 eyes that moved independently, tilted its head. "Do you really think it is possible?" it asked. Its voice was curious, not mocking. Eli shrugged again, smiling. "It's just a joke, of course. But," he leaned closer and lowered his voice, "what if there was a way to find out?" The alien tilted its eyes suspiciously. "Find out how?" Eli pointed to a large machine at the end of the hall. It hummed quietly, glowing faintly with alien energy. He had seen it before, but only from a distance. "That machine there," he said. "It's a birthmark scanner. They say it can confirm royal lineage. Maybe it can tell if I'm really the Lost Prince." The small group froze. Even the tall alien stopped laughing. The machine was not a toy. It was used rarely and only for very important matters. Eli chuckled nervously. "Relax. I'm joking. But, if you want to see, we could try it." One of the workers shrugged, clearly intrigued. "Why not? It will be funny to see a human walk up and get rejected." The others nodded, and soon they were walking toward the machine, all whispering and glancing at Eli. Eli felt his heart race. His joke had turned into something real. He had never thought anyone would actually let him use the machine. It was huge, almost as tall as the ceiling, with panels and lights that blinked in patterns he couldn't understand. A soft hum filled the room as the scanner powered up, and a blue glow spread across the floor. "Step forward," one of the aliens said, not unkindly. Eli took a deep breath and walked forward. He tried to laugh, to make it seem light, but his fingers trembled slightly. He put his arm on the scanner pad, the cool metal sending a shiver through him. The machine's lights changed, scanning his body and arm in streaks of bright energy. Analyzing, the machine hummed in a deep, alien tone. "Genetic signature, human. Unknown lineage detected. Cross-referencing historical records." Eli's stomach tightened. This was supposed to be a joke. A simple game to entertain his alien co-workers. But the machine's hum felt serious, powerful, important. "Cross-reference complete," the machine continued. "Significant match detected. Probability of royal identity, 99.8%. Eli froze. He stared at the glowing lights, then at the aliens around him. Their eyes were wide, mouths slightly open. They had laughed at him just minutes ago, and now they were silent. The joke had become something else. Something unbelievable. What does that mean?" Eli asked, his voice barely above a whisper. "It means," the tall alien said slowly, "that the human may really be the Lost Prince." Eli laughed nervously, shaking his head. "That's impossible. It has to be a mistake. I'm just me." But deep inside, a strange excitement began to grow. For the first time in his life he felt different. Maybe, just maybe, his joke had touched something real. The alien stepped back, giving him space. Whispers spread across the room. The archives, once quiet and boring, felt alive with possibility. Eli looked down at the scanner, then at his hands, and a small smile tugged at his lips. If this was real, he was no longer just a janitor. He was something more. Something legendary. And even if he couldn't believe it yet, others already did. Eli stepped back from the glowing machine, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. His joke had gone too far, and now the entire archive seemed to hold its breath. The blue light of the scanner faded slowly, but the energy in the room lingered. The aliens who had been laughing at him just minutes ago now stared, wide-eyed and silent. Even the tall alien with the silver crest seemed uncertain what to say. One of the smaller aliens, the three-eyed one, whispered, "We have never seen this happen before. A human, matching the lost prince." Eli shook his head. It has to be wrong. Maybe the machine is malfunctioning. But the machine, standing tall and humming faintly, did not lie. Its readings were precise and had no margin for error in identifying royal lineage. The lost prince had been a figure of legend, said to carry a unique birthmark invisible to the naked eye, hidden in the veins of the hand. No one alive had seen the prince for centuries. And yet, here it was, glowing in confirmation, exactly where Eli's human veins should have been. The tall alien finally spoke, his voice quiet but firm. "Step forward again. The machine may need a full body scan. Only then can we confirm this fully." Eli's heart thumped. He wanted to run to escape the growing weight of attention. But curiosity held him in place. He had joked about this for fun, but now part of him wanted to know if the impossible was true. He stepped forward, placing both hands on the scanner pads. This time, the machine lit up brighter, a network of holographic lines tracing over his body. The soft hum became a steady rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Lights flashed across the room, reflecting on the walls, the ceiling, even on the faces of the aliens around him. "Full body scan in progress," the machine intoned. "Analyzing skeletal structure, cross-referencing unique genetic markers. Scanning for hidden royal birthmarks, probability of royal identity, 99.9%. Eli's jaw dropped. His joke had become something real, something no human or alien had expected. He glanced at the small group watching him, their expressions a mixture of awe, fear, and disbelief. One alien muttered, "Impossible. Humans are fragile. They cannot carry royal energy." Yet, the readings do not lie. Eli swallowed hard. He had always felt ordinary, weak even in this advanced alien world. His species was considered simple, lacking the technological enhancements most aliens possessed. And yet, somehow, his body contained proof of something extraordinary. The machine projected a holographic image of his arm, highlighting faint golden patterns weaving through his veins. The birthmark, invisible to the naked eye, now shone like a living map. Eli's heart raced. He could hardly believe it. The patterns were exactly like the ones described in the ancient texts he had only read as a child, imagining stories of heroes and lost kings. The tall alien stepped closer, his expression serious. "Eli, if this is true, the prophecies speak of a human who will bridge worlds. A human who carries the blood of the lost prince. You may be that human." Eli laughed nervously, shaking his head. "No, that's impossible. I'm just a janitor. I sweep floors. I clean messes. I joke because that's all I can do." But the alien's eyes did not laugh with him. Their attention was sincere, almost reverent. Even the machine's hum seemed to echo his rising heartbeat, as if agreeing with their words. The three-eyed alien finally asked, "Do you not feel it? The connection? The energy?" Eli looked down at his hands, glowing faintly under the holographic patterns. He felt something he could not explain. A strange warmth, a sense of belonging, as if a part of him had always been waiting for this moment. For centuries, stories of the lost prince had seemed distant, like tales from another world. And now they were happening to him. The tall alien nodded. "You will need to understand what this means. There will be others who wish to test you. Others who may fear you. The path of the lost prince is not easy." Eli took a shaky breath. He wanted to protest, to step back into the safety of ordinary life. But deep down he realized that life as a human janitor was over. The scanner had spoken the truth and he could not unhear it. Something inside him had changed. He felt awake, aware, and connected to something far bigger than himself. The room grew quiet again, the kind of silence that carried weight. For the first time, Eli looked around and saw the city differently. The vast towers, the glowing streets, the strange alien eyes watching him, all of it seemed smaller now, like he belonged there in a way he had never understood. Finally, the machine's lights dimmed, and the hum softened. Eli stepped back, his hands trembling slightly. He looked at the aliens, then at the scanner. A single thought crossed his mind. Maybe, just maybe, the joke he had made in boredom was not a joke at all. And as the group whispered among themselves, Debating what to do next, Eli realized that his life had changed forever. The scanner had confirmed it. The human janitor was no longer ordinary. Somewhere inside, the lost prince had awoken. For the first time Eli smiled, not the nervous, joking smile but a real one. Something told him that the adventure was only beginning, and that his humanity might be the key to something no alien could imagine. Word about the Birthmark scanner's results spread quickly through the royal archives. Whispers followed Eli wherever he went, and soon the entire city seemed to buzz with the news. The human janitor who had joked about being the lost prince was now the center of attention. No one laughed anymore. Instead, curious and cautious eyes followed him as he walked through the glowing corridors. Eli felt uneasy. He had never sought fame or power. He was a janitor, someone who cleaned floors and fixed minor problems. He was used to being invisible. But now, everyone looked at him differently. Even children paused in the streets to point and whisper his name. Some aliens bowed slightly, unsure if this was respect or fear. The tall alien with the silver crest approached him in the archives. "Eli," he said, "the machine was not wrong. The prophecies speak of a human who will appear in this time of change. You match every description. The lost prince may indeed have returned in you." Eli shook his head, trying to laugh, but the sound caught in his throat. "I don't feel like a prince," he admitted. "I don't even know how to lead or command anyone. I'm just me." The alien's eyes softened. "You are human. That is why this is remarkable. Humans are different, unpredictable. You see the world in ways we cannot. That may be the very thing needed to unite the worlds." Eli looked at his hands, still faintly tingling from the scanner. He felt small, ordinary, and overwhelmed. His mind raced. How could a human janitor become someone legendary? How could he live up to something written in stories and prophecies he barely understood? A gentle voice interrupted his thoughts. The three-eyed alien stepped closer. "You are not alone. There are those who will help you understand. You do not need to do this by yourself." Eli nodded, grateful for the small reassurance. Still, doubt gnawed at him. Every fiber of his being told him he was not special. He was weak, clumsy, and untrained. How could anyone see him as the lost prince? Despite his doubts, the city had already started to change around him. Aliens he had never spoken to approached him, offering assistance, guidance, and even protection. Some were scholars who wanted to teach him about the history and traditions of the lost prince. Others were warriors who wanted to test his courage. All eyes were on him, expecting something remarkable. As the day passed, Eli wandered through the archives, trying to process the weight of attention. He paused at a large window looking out over the city. Towers stretched into the sky, shimmering under alien lights. Streets were alive with movement. And yet, among all this alien civilization he felt strangely connected. Something within him stirred, a quiet voice whispering that he could do more than he thought. Later, in a private chamber, the tall alien historian spread ancient texts across a glowing table. "These scrolls," he said, "contain knowledge only the lost prince was meant to know. History, diplomacy, the secrets of our world. You must learn them if you are to fulfill what is expected of you." Eli studied the scrolls, but the words felt foreign, almost impossible to understand. The writing was intricate, filled with symbols and concepts he had never encountered. He frowned, frustrated. "How can I learn this? I'm human. I've never been trained in these ways." The historian smiled kindly. "That is precisely why you may succeed. You do not think like us. Your mind sees solutions differently. The worlds need someone who is not bound by tradition." Eli considered this. Maybe he was different. Maybe being human was not a weakness as he had always believed. Maybe it was the reason he had been chosen. The thought gave him a flicker of courage, but doubt still lingered. Meanwhile, the city was divided. Some aliens celebrated the arrival of the lost prince. They saw hope in his presence, a chance to unite the worlds in peace and understanding. Others were fearful, suspicious of a human taking such an important role. Rumors spread like wildfire, some questioning the machine's accuracy, others warning of danger if a human tried to lead alien civilizations. Eli could feel the tension building around him. Every step he took was watched, every word he said analyzed. He was no longer invisible. Every joke he had made in the past seemed trivial now. The scanner had confirmed something real, and the city demanded that he act on it. That night, as he sat alone in his small quarters, Eli reflected on the day's events. He thought about the scanner, the glowing birthmark, and the whispers of aliens across the city. A quiet determination began to grow within him. He still felt ordinary, but perhaps ordinary was not the same as weak. Perhaps humans had something unique, something the alien world needed. Eli clenched his fists, feeling a small spark of hope. The path ahead was uncertain, full of challenges he could not yet imagine. But one thing was clear: his life would never be the same. He had joked about being the lost prince, but the joke had ended. The city, the world, and perhaps even the galaxy awaited what he would do next. And for the first time, Eli thought that maybe, just maybe, he was ready to find out. The next morning, Eli woke to a city that felt different. Word had traveled fast, and wherever he went, alien eyes followed. Some looked at him with hope, others with doubt, but all were waiting for something extraordinary. Eli had never wanted attention. He had never sought glory. But now, the path of the lost prince lay before him, and there was no turning back. The tall alien historian arrived at his quarters early, followed by 2 alien guards. "Eli," he said, "it is time to begin the trials. These are not simple tests. They will measure your courage, wisdom, and understanding of our world. You must succeed to prove that you are truly the lost prince." Eli rubbed his eyes. "Trials? Why me? I'm just a human. I don't know your customs, your language fully, or how to lead anyone." The historian's eyes were steady. "That is exactly why you are needed. Your human perspective may succeed where tradition fails. Come with us. The first trial begins now." Eli followed them through the city, passing streets he had only walked as a janitor. Citizens paused and stared. Children peeked from behind floating carts. He felt small, nervous, and out of place. But beneath the fear, a quiet determination grew. He could not hide anymore. The first trial was simple in description but challenging in execution. A holographic projection appeared in front of him, showing a map of the city and a series of obstacles. Eli had to navigate through simulated dangers, solve problems, and lead a group of virtual citizens to safety. It was a test of strategy and decision-making. The alien guards explained, "Your choices will determine whether the city thrives or falls. Think carefully. There is no single solution." Eli studied the map. Aliens might have approached this logically, following known patterns and statistics. But he was human. He looked for creativity, for solutions that weren't obvious. He noticed small paths overlooked in the simulation, ways to guide the citizens safely using bridges and shortcuts that no one else would have chosen. As he made his decisions, the simulation reacted instantly. Buildings shifted, holographic citizens moved, and obstacles appeared. Eli's heart raced, but he stayed focused. Each choice required quick thinking, and each mistake could cost him. Yet, slowly he realized that his intuition, his ability to see patterns differently from the aliens, was working. The simulation adjusted, and his path became successful. The projection faded. The alien historian nodded, impressed. "You have completed the first trial. Your human perspective has solved problems that our traditional methods could not." Eli exhaled, feeling both relief and exhaustion. The first step was done, but he knew there was more ahead. The second trial tested diplomacy. Eli had to negotiate with a group of alien leaders who had long been at odds. Their disagreements were deep, rooted in centuries of tradition and pride. Eli was human, young, and inexperienced in such matters. He sat across from them, listening carefully. They argued, shouted, and tried to confuse him. But Eli remained calm. He asked questions, understood their fears, and found common ground. He suggested compromises that no alien had considered, solutions that blended practicality with empathy. Slowly, the tension in the room eased, and the leaders nodded, surprised at his insight. "This is remarkable," one leader admitted. "A human can see solutions we have overlooked for generations." Eli smiled faintly. "Sometimes, the simplest answer comes from looking at things differently," he said. The final trial of the day was physical. Eli had to navigate a test of courage through a simulation of the city under attack. Holographic fires burned, alien adversaries appeared, and structures collapsed around him. Fear surged, but he remembered something. Humans survived by adapting, by thinking on their feet, by refusing to give up. He dodged obstacles, helped holographic citizens escape, and used his environment creatively. When the trial ended, he was exhausted, sweaty, and his heart pounded. But he had completed it. The alien observers looked impressed. Eli had passed not by brute strength, not by advanced technology, but by human ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. As he left the simulation hall, the tall historian placed a hand on his shoulder. "Eli, today you have shown what humans are capable of. You are different, yes, but that difference is a gift. The worlds may see you as the lost prince, but your humanity is what makes you extraordinary." Eli looked out at the city again, tired but proud. He realized that being human was not a weakness. It was his strength. His creativity, empathy, and courage had allowed him to succeed where aliens might have failed. For the first time he felt capable of embracing what lay ahead. That night as he rested, he thought of the challenges still to come. There would be more trials, more tests, more eyes watching him. But now he felt ready. He had begun to understand that being the Lost Prince was not about being perfect. It was about being human. And with that understanding, Eli smiled. The path was still uncertain, but he had discovered something important. Sometimes the greatest strength lies in who you are, not who others expect you to be. The city had changed since the scanner confirmed Eli's identity. Whispers of the human janitor who might be the Lost Prince filled every street and alley. Citizens paused to watch him pass, some with hope in their eyes, others with fear. Eli had learned much during the trials. He had faced challenges that tested his mind, heart, and courage. And though doubt still lingered, he had begun to understand what it meant to be extraordinary, not because of power or title but because of who he was. The tall alien historian and his companions escorted Eli to the central hall of the archives. It was a magnificent space, taller than any building he had seen, with walls that reflected shimmering lights like flowing water. Here the council of leaders gathered, wise elders, warriors, and scholars from across the alien worlds. Their expressions were serious, waiting for him to take his place. Eli felt the weight of their attention. His hands tingled, remembering the birthmark scanner and the golden patterns that had appeared beneath his skin. He was human, ordinary in appearance, yet extraordinary in ways he had never imagined. Taking a deep breath, he stepped forward. The council leader, an elder with skin like liquid silver, spoke first. Eli, human, you have passed the trials. You have shown courage, wisdom, and empathy beyond what any of us expected. The prophecies spoke of the Lost Prince, yet they did not explain the strength of humanity that would appear in him. Eli nodded, swallowing hard. I never asked to be a prince, he said quietly. I'm just a human. I don't know your ways, your history, or even how to lead. I'm not like you. The historian stepped forward. That is why you are perfect. You see the world differently. You think differently. Your humanity is not a weakness. It is what the worlds need. You can bring balance, understanding, and hope where tradition alone has failed. Eli looked around the hall. He saw the faces of those who had doubted him, those who had feared change, and even those who had hoped for it. He realized that he did not need to be perfect or all-knowing. He only needed to be himself and use what he had, his creativity, empathy, and courage, to guide others. He raised his head, meeting the council's gaze. I may be human, he said, his voice steady. I may be different from you. But I will do my best. I will listen, learn, and act. Together we can make this world better, not by following the past, but by combining what we each have to offer. A moment of silence followed. Then one by one members of the council nodded. Some bowed, some reached out their hands in respect. Eli felt a warmth inside, a sense of belonging he had never known. For the first time he understood that being human was not a limitation, it was a gift. Word of Eli's acceptance spread quickly. Citizens gathered in the streets, cheering quietly at first, then louder as the news reached them. Holographic banners displayed his image, not as a ruler demanding obedience, but as a symbol of hope. Children waved, aliens smiled, and even skeptics began to see the possibilities. Eli's humanity, his humor, kindness, and ingenuity, was now celebrated. Over the next days he began his work. He learned from the historians, the scholars, and the warriors. He listened to the citizens' concerns and found ways to help using simple, clever solutions that no alien tradition had considered. He introduced ideas that emphasized cooperation rather than hierarchy, empathy rather than fear. Slowly the city transformed. Tensions eased, disputes were resolved more peacefully, and citizens began to trust in each other more deeply. Eli discovered that the Lost Prince was not a title of power alone. It was a responsibility to unite, to inspire, and to lead by example. And though he was human, he realized that his differences were exactly what allowed him to succeed where others might have failed. One evening Eli stood on a balcony overlooking the city. Lights glimmered like stars across towers and streets. He remembered the scanner, the golden birthmark, and the jokes he had made when no one took him seriously. What had started as a joke had become reality. He smiled to himself, feeling the strange mix of fear and pride. A gentle voice beside him spoke. You have done more than anyone expected, human, was the tall historian. You have shown us that humanity is not weak, but capable of greatness in ways we could not imagine. Eli nodded. I never wanted this. I never thought I could do it. But maybe being human was enough all along. The historian smiled. It is more than enough. It is what makes you extraordinary. Eli looked out at the city once more. Somewhere deep inside he felt the spark of possibility, the sense that this was only the beginning. There were challenges ahead, sure, but now he understood who he was. He was a human. A janitor who had joked about being a prince. And yet, he had become a leader, a symbol, a bridge between worlds. And for the first time, Eli knew that being human was not a joke. It was a gift the galaxy had waited for.